Hey everybody, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley 412, and we are approaching the end of the season. Season wraps up on Sunday. Mega Ruler and I will have videos covered through Friday. We're not going to be doing any weekend videos, just with the last 2 days. And we know that college football and NFL kind of reign supreme, so we're going to be taking those 2 days off. We'll do maybe 1 or 2 videos during the playoffs when we have those larger slates, and just kind of see how they do. But we just really want to say thank you for following with us throughout the entire season. It's been awesome, just kind of building the following that we did get. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 3,000 here by the end of the year, so it would be fantastic. We are oh so close, oh so close. So slate that we're going to be talking about. It is Wednesday. Recording this the night before, so just make sure you're paying attention to weather, COVID, all that stuff. You guys know the deal by now, because weather's probably going to be changing overnight and throughout the day tomorrow. So it's a slate. It's pretty loaded with some top pitchers. I mean, I'm going to focus on 5. I'm not going to go through every single pitcher. We'd be here for a while, but there's really 5 pitchers that I think are like really stand out more than the other guys, and then we'll kind of talk about the bats, because the bats I think are interesting, and I'll explain why later. So Lamette, I'm not going to talk about him. Don't play him. 11.4K, don't play him. Just don't do it. Stop. Don't do it. Max Scherzer, 10.4K. He's easily the best pitcher on the slate. Hands down, he's going up against San Diego. They're eliminated from the playoffs. What a free fall that they have had. And Scherzer, last time out in Coors, so we'll give it a little asterisk. In Coors, he kind of struggled, but before that, this man was just pitching out of his mind. So I think he's in a great spot tomorrow or Wednesday night tonight. So Scherzer, I think if you're playing cash, he's definitely a pitcher that you have to have in your cash games, or at least he's going to be 70% owned in cash games. So Scherzer, clear cut number 1. Then you get to like Rodon and Garrett Cole, who are very similarly priced. Like Rodon going up against Cincinnati, they're kind of limiting his workload, so Rodon's not really going deep into games, so I'm not going to be paying that much money for him. Let me turn a light on here. I'm not going to be I'm not going to be paying that much money for Rodon if he's not going to go deep into the game, but I can get Scherzer for 200 more. Garrett Cole, he's still going deep into the game. Yankees are still fighting for that wild card spot or that playoff spot. I mean, they're pretty much golden right now. They're cruising on a nice little win streak. But Garrett Cole hasn't been Garrett Cole in the past about month or so. Excuse me. So, he's got a tough matchup going up against Toronto and Toronto. So 10.1K again, just go 300 up to Scherzer at this point. Obviously, they're fine GPP plays. I want to touch Rodon just with his workload, but Garrett Cole, GPP, go for it. Aaron Nola, Garcia, kind of the same thing. I'm not really too high on them. Barrios is the next guy I do want to talk about. Actually, let's talk about Montas first, because I got him over here. So Scherzer and Montas. I mean, I think these are the 2 safest cash options if this is going to be a very popular combo. Montas, aside from 1 Kansas City start, he has been fantastic with his floor and what he's been able to provide, even going back to August here. So 31, 30, 22, 27, 26, 29. He's been doing great. So Oakland, they got a slim chance of making the playoffs, but they can't still do it. Going up against Seattle. And I don't know if you guys have seen Seattle and the run differential. Somehow they're like 17 games over 500, but a negative 50 something run differential. It doesn't make any sense at all. But Montas, I think he's going to do just fine against Seattle. You can see he's played them twice, 23 points in each of them. So Montas, I think he's a very safe pitcher and a 9.4K. You can easily fit him in. Barrios. Now we'll talk about Barrios. Going up against the Yankees. Yankees are hot. I mean, they have a 6-7 game win streak right now. I can't remember. But Barrios, he has been pitching very well. So they're going to need Barrios to really, take over this game, because Toronto's trying to catch Boston. They're trying to catch the Yankees for this final playoff spot. We only got 5 days left. So they're going to need Barrios to really give it his all. Hope to get a ceiling game from him. I mean, we're talking about the double-digit Ks and all of that. Is he going to do it against this Yankees offense? He's shown that he can do it in the past with the 26-point effort earlier on in the month, September. So he's shown that he can do it. Is he as safe as a guy like Montas? I don't think so. But still, he's definitely a guy that is standing out on this slate. Next, Fried going up against Philly. Fried is kind of same deal. You know, these guys, they're priced pretty nicely for the floors that they can provide. He's coming off a 9-inning game shutout of San Diego. Again, San Diego is just, I don't know what's going on with them. But, you know, he's going to be able to provide a nice floor for you at 8.6K. And Eovaldi going up against Baltimore. I like Eovaldi a bit more than Fried. Just, you know, one, the matchup. And, you know, last time out he burned us, but prior to that, you know, he's been pitching fantastic. 3 or fewer earned runs in all of his starts going back to, you know, early August. So his Ks are up as well. His strikeout rate is through the roof. He's approaching near double digits Ks in every single start. And while doing this, his price drops $1,300. So I do love Eovaldi in this spot. And that kind of rounds out like the top 5 pitchers that I really want to target on the slate. Scherzer, Montas, Barrios, Fried, and Eovaldi. All the other guys, you know, they're kind of like GPP plays. There's some guys that I wouldn't touch at all. A guy like Rodon, I wouldn't touch him at all. Everybody else, you know, if you want to take a shot at him, absolutely fine. You know, Wood going up against Arizona, Hernandez going up against the Mets. I don't have any issue with going with those guys. And then down here, just don't play Casey Mize. Detroit's been working on like limiting workload for their pitchers, so he's not going to go deep into the game. If I was going to go super deep down in this price range, I would be going with Drew Rasmussen. Houston, you know, at the time of this recording, they haven't locked anything up for the playoffs, but it's like a 99.9% chance they're going to be in the playoffs. But Rasmussen, he's shown that, you know, he can hang with some of the top offenses in the league. I mean, 2 games against Boston, 2 games against Toronto. He's going 5 innings. He's letting 2 or fewer runs in each of them, double digits. And at 5.5K, if he's able to get you double digits, boom, you paid off your salary. So pairing him with a guy like Scherzer, you can really load up on your bats. There's no Coors game that we really have to be paying up for, but still. You know, he's fine play if you really want to just go all out in your bats. So let's talk about the bats here. I threw in Scherzer and Montas, just kind of show you the pricing. I also threw in Willie Calhoun. So if you're throwing in those top 2 pitchers, you're going to need to find value somewhere. Calhoun, lefty going up against, I think it's Junk for LA. He could be leading off at 2K. And I think this game's going to have quite a few runs. It's not the greatest offenses, but it's also not the greatest pitchers either. I think the over-under for this game is at 9. And, you know, Willie Calhoun leading off 2K. He's going to have the platoon splits. I think he's a nice value play for you. If you're also looking for other value, just go to the other side of that game. The Angels going up against Hearn and that Texas bullpen. It's nothing to be scared about at all. Outside of Ohtani, outside of Ohtani and Walsh, everybody is 2.9K and below. You can look to a guy like Mayfield at 2.6K. I could be betting, you know, in that middle order cleanup spot. You can kind of see he's been doing very well lately against much better pitchers in Houston staff than what he's going to see tomorrow in Texas. So, you know, you throw in Mayfield, you throw in Calhoun, just 2 cheap guys. You're looking at 4.2K remaining for the rest of your bats. So let's look kind of at the top bats. Number 1 is going to be Boston, going up against Lowther and going up against that just awful Baltimore bullpen. The relief pitchers combined have an ERA close to 7 in the past month, so it could get ugly. But Renfroe, I still think he's just far too cheap. Kike Hernandez, Dahlbeck's going 3.4K. Even if he's batting down in the lineup, you know, he's got excellent numbers against lefties, so that's just too cheap for him and the ceiling that he can provide. It'd be a great GPP play. just playing the bottom half of Boston. Hope to get a home run out of him. So, I mean, just playing around, we're at 4.4K remaining, even with 2 top pitchers. So Boston's your clear number 1 team stack on the day. After that, it gets pretty, tossed up in the air. I mentioned that this is an interesting slate with the bats because, like, the best offenses are going up against the best pitchers, and the worst offenses are going up against the worst pitchers. So you kind of juggle which one do you weigh a little bit more. I mean, you got Toronto going up against Cole and Cincinnati against Rodon, and Tampa Bay is going up against Garcia and Atlanta against Noel. Like, all the top teams are going against these studs. And then down here, I mean, Minnesota and Detroit, that should see some runs. Not the greatest pitchers, but also not the greatest offenses. They could also throw out a dud. LA and Texas, I just talked about them. So, I mean, maybe you could look to Arizona going up against Kelly. Excuse me again. So targeting some of the lefties on San Francisco, a guy like La Stella, you could go him at second base. I think he's 3.9K. Yeah, 3.9K second base. I mean, the salary, I don't think it's an issue. There's enough value on the slate, especially in that Texas Angels game, that you can just jam in top pitchers, top Boston bats, and just kind of like filling your lineup from there. So, as always, good luck in your contest, and that kind of wraps things up, and we will see you in the next video.